Good morning. So today we are continuing with module 7. This is lecture number 7.4a. So let us see what we have learnt in grinding temperature and what we are going to cover in 7.4a. Today we are going to address the most generalized grinding, which is superabrasive grinding with application of grinding fluid. We started with dry conventional grinding. This was one of our first attempt. Then it was dry superabrasive grinding. And today we are going to do this. Though it is written as superabrasive grinding, but it can also tackle conventional grinding fluids. So this is the general equation for heat transfer. This is the total heat flask. This is the heat flask entering the workpiece. This is the heat flask entering the chip. This is the heat flask entering the grinding wheel. And this is the heat flask which is entering the fluid. That is, in grinding, you are applying grinding fluid. You are applying that for two purposes. One is lubrication. Another most important thing is cooling. So the grinding fluid will take away some amount of heat, and that is given by QF. So this is the heat flask. In this particular series, quite often I have replaced QF with QFL and heat transfer coefficient HF with HFL. So this is not there in this particular video, but in further videos I might have use them interchangeably. So when you are preparing your own notes, please take care of that. So when we have done dry conventional grinding, this was 0 because this was dry grinding. Not only that, this was also 0 because amount of heat taken away by the conventional grinding fluid, grinding wheel is very less. Why is it less? It is less because it's less thermal conductivity and the time of residence, that is the chip formation time, is very less. When we have done dry superabrasive grinding, this remained 0. It did not change. However, this was no longer 0. QS in that particular case was no longer 0. Okay. But in today's work or thing, none of them they are 0. None of them they are 0. This is not 0. QF is not 0 because this is a grinding with application of grinding fluid, and QS is not 0 because this is superabrasive wheel. So this is the most generalized case that we are going to discuss. And why this was not 0, that also was discussed earlier. The primary reason is that thermal conductivity of superabrasive grids, that is CBN grids and diamond grids, they are much higher as compared to the thermal conductivity of alumina or tungsten carbide. Now let us see how to proceed further. First thing we are going to do is bit strange. We know that QW is the heat flask entering the workpiece. We also know this enters the workpiece because of conduction. However, for the sake of analysis, the physics remains conduction. Physics is conduction. The heat is entering. This is the QT, the total heat which is generating at the grinding zone, of which a part of it is QW is entering the workpiece. This heat transfer is conduction. That does not change. However, what we will do is that we would try to mathematically simulate it with a convection equation where QW equal to HW into theta. What is theta? At the grinding zone, grinding temperature is theta W. Here it is theta ambient, and as we know, theta is equal to rise in grinding temperature. So this one. So this is at high temperature. This is at ambient temperature. So heat will go from high temperature to low temperature, and as if this is happening because of convection. So this is a pseudo convective heat transfer coefficient, and this pseudo heat transfer coefficient relates how much heat is entering the workpiece and what is the grinding temperature or rise in grinding temperature. I must emphasize and reiterate, the physics of the process remains conduction. For the sake of analysis, mathematical simplicity, we are replacing that by a convection equation, nothing more than that. Physics does not change, it remains conduction. Now with this assumption, how we treat it? So this is the expression of theta that we have written earlier. In the previous slide we have written, so this equation or this particular part replaces this, and once it replaces, your theta becomes this particular thing. Then this theta and this theta cancels out and you get an expression of HW. And as you can see, HW is a function of beta W, that is material property, and it is also a function of the process parameters. If you remember, LC is root over ADS, so it is a function of process parameter of grinding. So this is not a material constant, this is a constant which depends on the material property and it also depends on process parameter of grinding. So HW, that is pseudo convective heat transfer coefficient, can be determined provided you know which material you are grinding and what are the process parameters, which is expected that a person who is grinding steel or titanium alloys or Inconel, he would be able to find out the material property and he would be knowing what are the grinding parameters. Now let us try to see how much is HW representative value. So I have taken LC equal to 3 millimeter, VW equal to 100 millimeter per second, which is 6 meter per minute. Beta W I have assumed it to be 14,000. If you recall, beta W is square root of density, specific heat and thermal conductivity of a work material, and this SI unit is 1400. And if you plug in everything, what you get is this one. So 71,530. So it is tens of thousands of watt per meter square degree Kelvin. So it is rather high. So this HW, pseudo convective heat transfer coefficient for the workpiece, is rather high. Let us go forward and try to see how now we can try to solve it. So this was the equation. None of the parts on my right hand side are 0. So I take QCH on this side, so it becomes QT minus QCH. QW plus QS, that I write as QW divided by RWS. Why do I write that? Please recall. This was the definition of RWS. So QW by RWS becomes QW plus QS. So this QW plus QS gets replaced by QW divided by RWS. QF comes over here. Now, in the previous slides, what we have done, for the sake of analysis, we have replaced QW as HW into theta. Theta is the temperature rise. That's what we have written here. And QF is the heat being taken away by the grinding fluid because of convective heat transfer, is HF into theta, where theta is the grinding rise. Here the assumption is actually QF equal to theta F into theta W minus theta ambient. This is the grinding zone temperature and this is the ambient temperature. That means your ambient temperature and fluid temperature are same. So from that assumption, one can write it as HF into theta. Once this is done, then you can get the expression of theta equal to QT into 1 minus RCH divided by HW by RWS plus HF. And RWS, we have earlier discussed that one gentleman called Hahn, he expressed RWS in this manner, which is a function of kg, that is the thermal conductivity of the grit. As it increases, it affects RWS. It is a function of work material that you are grinding. It is a function of grinding speed, and it is also a function of edge rounding. So you have already solved one problem on RWS. An assignment has been given that also you are solving, hopefully. So you know what is RWS. Just to refresh your memories, I have given the expression of RWS once again. Now there is a however. What is this however? I will tell you. Theta boils down to this expression. That means HF becomes 0 when rise in grinding temperature is more than the flame boiling temperature. What is flame boiling temperature? I hope some of you might have experience in the kitchen. So if you have prepared roti on a tawa, once it has been prepared, clean it with a cloth and just sprinkle a few drops of water. You will see the water is dancing around. It is dancing around because of flame boiling. The tawa is rather hot. You have sprinkled water. The flame boiling temperature of water is 100 degrees centigrade under normal atmospheric condition. So once the temperature of the water reaches more than 100 degrees centigrade, there is a water vapor, and once the water vapor is there, the water droplet dances around. The problem is, once you have water vapor between the droplet and the tawa, no further heat transfer takes place. So if the flame boiling temperature of the fluid is 100 degree and this theta you have estimated in the previous equation to be 120, from this particular equation to be 120, in that case you understand the physics dictates that flame boiling will take place. If flame boiling takes place, then the grinding fluid would not be able to remove heat any further. If it cannot remove heat any further, then HF becomes 0 or it becomes very, very less. So the previous equation, in this equation, HF vanishes and we get this particular one. So if a numerical problem is given to you, you calculate theta by this particular equation, then compare what is your calculated temperature. Is it more than theta FB, that is flame boiling temperature? If it is so, you recalculate your theta using this expression and that would be your value. If this theta happens to be less than flame boiling temperature, then this need not be done, because then the grinding fluid retains its ability to remove heat from the grinding zone because no flame boiling takes place. Now let us look at the typical flame boiling temperature. In grinding, typically soluble oil is used and the flame boiling temperature is 100 to 150 degree. If you are using straight or neat oil, that is around 350 degree. Now there are two effects in grinding. One is effect of viscosity, another one is effect of high speed. Other than that, the effect of chemistry of the oil is also there. Soluble oil is primarily water. If it is soluble oil being used in grinding, the dilution would be 1:20 to 1:100. That means 20 part would be water, 1 part would be soluble oil. So mostly the flame boiling temperature would be very near to that of the oil. When the grinding wheel rotates at a very high speed, then some hydrodynamic pressure will develop, and as the hydrodynamic pressure develops, the flame boiling temperature increases. I can give you an example. We typically cook sometime in pressure cooker. The reason is that in pressure cooker at high pressure, the water will boil at a higher temperature, and as it boils at a higher temperature, it will cook faster. So that is the process of cooking in a pressure cooker. So similarly, at high grinding speed, when the grinding wheel rotates at high speed, the flame boiling temperature increases because of generation of hydrodynamic pressure, and that effect is more severe or more effective in case of high viscous fluid. Okay, the hydrodynamic pressure increases to a higher extent. So what I am trying to say is that as Vs increases, the flame boiling temperature increases because more hydrodynamic pressure is created, and more hydrodynamic pressure is created provided your viscosity of the grinding fluid is high. Your straight oil has higher viscosity, so straight oil would give you a frame boiling temperature of 350 degrees centigrade. So what is the summary? Summary is this one. This is the final generalized equation of rise in grinding temperature. What it depends on? It depends on the total heat flask. It depends on the amount of percentage or fraction of heat taken by the chip. It depends on HW, that is some material property, and the grinding parameters. It depends on RWH. It depends on HF. If your rise in grinding temperature is more than frame boiling temperature, this HF tends to 0. In dry grinding also, this HF tends to 0. RWS becomes 1. RWS 1 means QS becomes 0. So when it becomes 0, it becomes 0 in case of conventional grinding. So in case of conventional grinding, you can simply write it as in case of conventional dry grinding, in case of super abrasive dry grinding, you can write it as this. And in case of generalized grinding with super abrasive wheel or conventional wheel, this would be the expression, provided calculated value of theta is less than theta FB. If theta is more than theta FB, then what would happen? HF would become very, very small. HF would become very, very small. So we'll put it as 0 and it would almost amounts to no heat being taken away by the grinding fluid. So this is the summary. Using these approaches, you can estimate rise in grinding temperature under any circumstances, provided you know the quantities. Only one thing we have not talked about, how to get the value of HF. If you are numerically assessing it, the value of HF would be given to you, but we will also learn how to calculate or how to estimate, not calculate, how to estimate HF. That we will learn. So thank you so much for your attention. We will meet again in the second part of this lecture.